And we are live. Welcome to Artcasters Chat, Artist Hangout number 17. In the new year. And, okay. So, I guess I should mention I got this pinup by Barry McLean, otherwise known as Stay Broke. That'll be entering during the show. In the new year. Somebody's got their audio on.
That might have been me. I think I just shut it off. Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. Okay. Is it going?
Yeah. So we got a couple people with us today. We got Eric.
Hello.
Hey. So introduce yourself and
Hi, I'm Eric.
say hello to the audience.
Howdy, audience. I'm Eric. I do comic art and character art and graphic design. Have a business, Eric Web Graphics, and yeah, lots of stuff on the back burner this year.
And we got Jeremy with us today.
Hey, Jeremy Burley, comic artist, writer, creator, graphic designer, self-publisher, all around, irritating but fun guy. Thumbs it up.
There you go. And we got Scott with us.
Hey, I'm Scott Strickland. I do comics as well. I also do graphic design, illustration, and I do a lot of robots, aliens, zombies, and other imminent threats to humanity. And you can find my stuff at circworks.com.
Cool. And of course, I am Peter Patti, the host for tonight's show. Jeff Lafferty won't be joining us this evening. I think this is probably the first time he's not going to be joining at all during one of the Artcasters chats. But he says hello, and he's dealing with some dentist issues. But I'm sure we'll see him again in the future. I'm not sure how we're going to do this, but we might have different hosts for the Artcaster chats, as we go. I know probably Jeff will host times, and I'll host sometimes, and one or two other people in the Artcasters on Facebook have mentioned they'd be willing to. So we'll play it by ear. Of course, I also do Studio Synergy, which I got coming up Thursday evening. That will be 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I think we have a beyond the full house for that one. It's over 11 people, although some people just sign up and don't know they're signing up. So we'll see who shows up. I know there's a number of people that signed up for tonight's, but aren't here yet. Though we got Jay is looking for another invite. Sorry, him again. Sent him another invite. We'll see if he gets in. I wanted to bring up something that happened to me recently. I ordered some art supplies. I actually ordered some more ink through. Now I'm going to blank on the name of the. Who do I use? Let's see. Oh, Dick Blick. I ordered some supplies from Dick Blick, and they said it was shipped. Although that was when I just happened to be out of town. And I'm probably going to call their customer service tomorrow about it. But that's the first time I ever had a problem getting supplies. Because normally it's always gone smoothly. And you know, I've ordered from them, you know, 100 times or so. So it just surprised me that something happened, but they could have easily left it outside my door, and you know, a kid could have came around and just picked it up, thinking it was something. Who knows what happened?
Somebody scored some free ink.
What's that?
Somebody scored some free ink. Some kid.
Yeah.
Boo. Boo. We need all the ink we can get. They're grubby mitts off our gear.
You know, they actually, you know, I did it. I sent them a message via email. I figured I'd call them tomorrow. But they suggested, you know, checking with my neighbors, and you know, I know my immediate neighbors are kind of nuts, so.
Oh, that's awesome.
So
Well, that's all I got. Go over there and get your stuff.
Yeah. I don't know the chances of anything turning up at this point.
Yeah, so far I haven't had too much bad luck as far as receiving things, but now I'll probably jinx it. Right now I'm trying to see if I can, I purchased a tablet monitor. I'm trying to see if I can get them to take it back, because it's not working for me. I had to totally disconnect it because it was just doing weird stuff, and I had like this deadline I was working on them, and you know, I kept having to reboot my computer like every 5 minutes to try to get this thing to work, but so I don't know.
What monitor was it?
It's like one of the Cintiq alternatives. It's called a Huion.
Was it?
Huion?
Oh yeah, it's from like Korea or something, or
I think it's
no,
China.
not Korea. Yeah.
Yeah,
Did it turn out didn't work very well?
no, and I don't know if it's necessarily the actual, you know, device, or if it's just its compatibility with my computer, but it's like it's just real touchy, and maybe somebody that knows a little more about computers might be able to figure it all out, but I just don't have the time or really, you know, to deal with it. I mean, I was, you know, just to install it, it was back and forth with tech support trying to get it to work and everything. So
Yeah, you want it to work right out of the box. So, you know, it should.
yeah, that's the thing. It just, if it doesn't do that, then it ends up just being a paperweight for me, because I just don't like to deal with that stuff. So hopefully they'll take it back. I don't know, you know, and then I might just, you know, save that money and gradually just save up and get a Cintiq or something. I don't know, but they're so damn expensive. But maybe I can find one, like a refurbished one or something.
So,
I hope you get it figured out.
Yeah, hope so. They emailed me back. I've got to asking if it was damaged or anything, which it's not damaged. It just doesn't work. Not with my computer anyway. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
You know, I've been experimenting with drawing on the iPad. My fiance got me an iPad for Christmas, and first thing I did was break out the little rubber stylus that I had that I'd been using for my iPhone.
Uh-huh.
And the problem with that one is just that it's short, and you get that thing where you draw with a pencil. Once it gets too short, it doesn't rest in your in the crook of your thumb well. So you either use a pencil extender, or you're like, all right, this thing's getting stubby. I'm gonna throw it away.
Yeah.
So I went and I bought a lot. Well, the first thing I did was I went online. I found that they actually do make Bluetooth styluses for tablets that are supposed to interact with the software on the tablet. So it isn't true pressure sensitivity, but the Bluetooth device is supposed to be able to read how hard you're pressing, send that information to the tablet, and tell it how hard you're pressing. And it's supposed to mimic the feeling of actually a pressure sensitive tablet. And the one I bought was one that had probably some of the best reviews I'd seen online, but I could see little to no difference in how well it actually, made in terms of the software that I was using. In the end, I just ended up buying a $10 cheap one that was like the baby one I have, but just longer, so it was like the length of a normal pencil.
So is there? I mean, I assume since you just got that, it's one of the newer iPads.
It's not the newest. It's like one generation before that.
I've got like the first generation, and it had zero pressure sensitivity. But I thought they were fixing that for like future models where you could actually draw and have that pressure sensitivity.
Well,
but it's all dependent on the stylus then.
Well, what it is, I think they're actually Apple. I've been reading this blog called Mac Rumors. And they say that sometime in 2015, Apple's supposed to come out with their own stylus that is supposed to be like really pressure sensitive.
Uh-huh.
But the way that the one that I bought, the way it works, is just that the pressure sensitivity isn't coming from the tablet. It's coming from the pen itself. And when you press harder, the pen tells that you're pressing harder, and the pen syncs up with your drawing software. And it tells the iPad that you're pressing. But I found that, it didn't really... I'm not giving up on it yet, because another friend of mine, as soon as I told him how disappointed I was with the results, he's like, well, I'll buy it off you. And I was kind of like, well, hold on now. Let me mess with it for a little while longer. And I'd already kind of written the device off, but just knowing that somebody else kind of wanted it off of me, I'm like, it's so sick. But in my mind, I'm like, well, now somebody else wants it. I don't know if I want to give it up. So I'm going to hang on to it for a little while longer and see if I can get some better results. It really feels to me like it's something that a software update of the actual software I'm using could change the difference. A software update of the driver for the stylus could make the difference. A software update of like another Mac OS can make the difference. So it's one of those things where the physical tool itself, even though it doesn't seem to be doing what I hoped, it works as well as a stylus does that doesn't have any electronics in it. So I can still, get thick and thin lines. I can set the pressure sensitivity on the actual app that I'm using. I'm using this one called Procreate, which it feels a lot like there's a cheap version of Painter that came free with. They used to come free with old Wacom tablets. It was called Painter Classic.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love Painter Classic way more than I love regular Painter. It was just super stripped down, but all the tools worked the way you wanted them to work. And that's all you can really ask for from an art software. If it mimics the medium and it looks like what it's supposed to look like and it does what you tell it to do, I'm like, I'm a happy camper. So, but the Procreate software was working really well. The tablet itself, I mean the tablet works well. It's just that the level of pressure sensitivity that's supposed to be, make it feel more like using a Cintiq, that wasn't working. Like it wasn't anything that it didn't give me functionality that was better than what I got with a non-electronic one. So, just been playing with that.
Has anyone tried one of those? They were at one time. Wacom was gonna release this, and maybe they did, but I haven't really heard much of it lately. But it's just like a regular pen, but it also digitizes. So anything you draw in your sketchbook, it records the movements and will digitize any drawing that you make. Have you guys heard of that one? It's supposed. I thought it was supposed to come out like a couple years ago, but like I said, there were like people trying to order it, and it was on back order, and then after that, I really didn't hear anything about it. And I don't remember what it's called, but
I don't remember what it's called either, but I know exactly what you're talking about. As far as I know, that thing is like the ghost. It's like the phantom device because I don't know. I know everyone I know. Let me put this way, a lot of people I know have heard of it. I don't know a single person who actually has used it. So
yeah, same here. It's like they teased it and maybe they tried to launch it or something. It just didn't work, and I don't know. But yeah, I've never really heard of anyone. I thought it was just such a cool thing, because there's so many times, you're out with your sketchbook, and if you could record that, and then you can vectorize it or do whatever you want after it's recorded. But I don't know.
I've gotten to the point now where sometimes, I mean, if I'm doing like a really nice piece, I will, I'll take the time to scan it in. But if I'm just like sketching stuff out and roughing and concepting, I'll take a photo of the sketch with my phone and then send that right over to the computer, to the device, and then whatever manipulation I'm doing on the next level, I'll do that on the computer, and I'll kind of go back and forth, print stuff out, scribble on it, scan it back in, or take another photo of it. I mean, the scanner, really, I just kind of use it if I've got like a finished, clean line drawing or a painting or an inked comic page. Those I'll scan in, but it's like the line for composing images and comic pages and roughing stuff out. That line between physical and digital is really getting blurry in a good way for me these days.
Yeah, it probably takes less time to take a photo than it does to scan something too. Maybe a little,
I mean, my scanner is like literally right next to my drawing table, so it's not like I'm a pretty lazy bastard if I don't want to get up and go scan something. But if I'm like working on something, if I'm like doodling at lunch and I'm at work, I can like scan that in, or I'll take a photo of that and then maybe hop on my my computer or the iPad and mess with it there. Just convenient on-the-go tools.
I've had some good experience in that direction. I have for Christmas I got or I basically bought myself a Samsung Galaxy Note 10.1 2014 edition, and I couldn't be happier with it for an art tablet. To me, it's like the ultimate art tablet. I mean, it comes with, after doing some research, I discovered it has Wacom technology in it for the pen, and it does great pressure sensitivity, and it's the most realistic, like drawing on a piece of paper or with a pen, or pens or markers or airbrushes. But you have the digital. It's like it's basically replaced my sketchbook. I still have them, but I mean I use it all the time just for drawing whatever. But I also can use it for work, and it. I really recommend it. The stylus is great. It's almost about right, but it is a little short. I found that if you stick it in an empty ballpoint pen tube, you can actually make it the exact perfect fit, feel, length. It fits right in one, and Yeah, I use it for everything. I mean, anymore I use it for work. So it gets me out of my studio work area desk, and I can sit anywhere in the house and work on it. And then to top it off, I found a app called Splashtop, and it will dial it. It'll sync up with your monitor on your computer. Basically like remote desktop, and I can use it and basically I can use my Adobe Photoshop or anything I would be doing on my computer here. I can do it on that now. So I mean, it's a very powerful machine. And it never lags hardly at all. I mean, it definitely keeps it with hand speed, and I mean, it's very very powerful. I recommend it.
That's cool. Is it like a tablet size, or is it more like one of the bigger phone sizes?
Oh no, it's a tablet, full blown 10-inch tablet. It's really like drawing on a 8.5 or 8 by 10 piece of paper. I mean, it's and then but you have the ability to like zoom in, and you can be holding the tablet, but like I use Sketchbook Mobile on it, and you can turn it like a real piece of paper. And I even found a really good app called Wacom Bamboo Paper. I recommend that. It actually, you can create virtual sketchbooks and notebooks, and with limitless pages. I just use that to sketch in all the time now. I mean, to me, I like going green, and yeah, I miss once in a while I'll go back to like drawing on an actual paper sketchbook or something for the tactile feel and all that stuff. But I mean, this basically has replaced it for me. It's really cool.
That's what I was kind of hoping would happen with that tablet monitor that I got, but yeah, it just didn't. I just thought it was just going to be a total game changer, and it wasn't for me. Like it's weird because as soon as I disconnected it, because like I said, I'm working on this deadline, and like the cursor on my computer would just freeze up, or there'd be like two cursors on my computer, and they'd be like flashing, and then my computer started beeping and making noises and stuff, and this kind of happened.
That's
not good. No. So finally, I just disconnected it, and then I quickly re-plugged my Intuos tablet back in, and then the software and everything. And it was weird because even though I'm not drawing on the screen anymore, I'm drawing, on the tablet on the desk.
Yeah.
It just felt so much better to me. I don't know. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just, maybe I'll just have to wait and try out like the Cintiq or something. I don't know.
I know. I hate to spend that much. Like, this to me is nice. The Cintiq Companion is supposed to be a good like portable tablet, but they say it's limited too. It just does whatever Wacom wants it to do. It's not a full blown operating system and computer, and so I almost feel like if you could find a huge Samsung touch screen or something.
Yeah. Well, there's other like. All the brand, like I bought it like right before Christmas, and I think now maybe they had them out already, but like all the off brands, there's the Huion, which I got, there's the Unova, and then Monoprice, which I think is the same as the Huion. They all just released a 22-inch high def one.
Oh,
and that was another problem with the one I got. It wasn't high def, so the colors just weren't close enough.
Yeah, you gotta have high def.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know if I want to bother like getting one of the off brands, just the 22-inch high def, and see if I have better luck with it. But
I'll tell you what, if you recall a couple Artcasters back, I was asking you guys what you thought was a good tablet for like drawing and stuff, and I mean it was a crapshoot. It was really just sorting through all the reviews and all the YouTube videos and and I really think I lucked out. Honestly, it's just pure luck, but it really is a very good one. The one I did try to get and I returned it was the Asus Transformer book, and it was a touchscreen. It was a full Windows 8 laptop, folded back, beautiful. I mean, it was a gorgeous machine. But the minute you put a stylus to it and move to draw just a straight quick line, it would go zigzag. It could not draw a straight line.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I could open Photoshop in it and everything, and it just would not draw a straight line.
Yeah, the one that I got, I didn't have any problems with like the lag or anything like that, or like it. I mean, when it was working, it was performing fine. Like, and I think it just has something to do with my computer. Like the first thing, the reason why I couldn't install it in the first place was, and I didn't realize this. I kind of had to figure it out myself. The customer service or whatever is the tech support, you know, and they're from China, so I'm just texting them back and forth, and it was kind of hard for them to assess what was going on, which is another problem. But finally, I figured out it was my webcam. So I had to uninstall my webcam in order to get this thing to install, which seems weird.
Oh, weird.
When I reinstalled it, it's the webcam. I was worried that it wasn't going to work, but it worked fine, at least for a while. And then, so yeah, I don't know, but that's nothing. You know, I shouldn't have to do without something just to be able to have a tablet that works. You know.
I did learn from this Samsung. I took out of the box, you know, and I'm not going to push Samsung all to no end, but this is a good example of I took it out, I turned it on, I downloaded the Sketchbook app, and immediately worked like it was supposed to. You know, I feel like if it doesn't do that, put it back in the box, send it back.
Yeah, well, that's me too, because
it's not the right one.
Right.
I really learned that lesson.
I should have done that earlier, you know, and then I was worried that it'd be too late to send it back. But then I noticed because I got it through Amazon, but then they're like a third-party seller or something.
Oh, so I was going to say Amazon's very good for returns.
Yeah, and plus it said because their holiday, because usually it's like 30 days or something, but their holiday deal is if you got it in November, which I did, you can return it before the end of this month.
Oh, okay.
So I thought that was going to be okay, which it still might. I haven't really heard back from the other company yet, but you know, I'll just have to see. You know, hopefully they'll take it back because I don't know what I'm going to do with it.
Hopefully they will.
Well, usually they give you at least, 90. So usually, sometimes they give you 90 days, but at least you got 30 days.
Yeah, they should.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see. It's been more than 30, but like I said, they said because of the holidays that they usually give you another month.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
So we got Jay in our hangout.
Hey guys.
Hey Jay.
Howdy.
Hey.
How's it going?
Not bad. Can't complain, I guess.
The painting's looking awesome as usual.
Thank you.
First I thought that was like Black Cat or something, or that's not who
It
that
is.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it is Black Cat, yeah.
So what do you do?
I was going to say it's my interpretation of Black Cat, put it that way.
Usually I don't see you with the pencil.
I do use them, I just don't like to brag about it too much.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it seems you can get such real thin lines with that brush, it's like you might not ever need one.
Yeah, it's actually very rare that I do use a pencil. Just like really super tight lines is all I use it for. So how is everybody doing tonight?
I'm doing good. Just busy.
Happy art campers.
Yes.
Campers.
We're all trying to get a handle on our workloads.
Yeah, it seems like
Yeah,
everybody's
I hear that.
Everybody's working on something.
Yeah, I'm actually doing some design work. My goal for 2015 was to put out an art book, so I'm sort of like putting together like the sketch section, doing some book design and book layout. And even though InDesign isn't really my weapon of choice, I've used it enough that I can kind of,
What do you usually use?
Well, usually I just lay everything out because mostly I just do comics, and for those I'll do each page lettered individually in Illustrator, and then when I'm done, I'll export each page as a TIFF, and
Okay,
then
yeah.
I end up just sending all the TIFF files to my printer. So I don't
Yeah.
actually,
Yeah, you don't even have to lay them out. Yeah.
yeah, I don't do the actual collating myself.
Okay.
So, I mean, the nice thing is that if I needed to, InDesign will do impositions for you, so you don't have to work out all that math of the order of the pages. But the fact that if I did that, I would want to double check it all, which means I would still have to take each of those files and, I don't know, print them out and then lay them out to make sure that they fit in that order. So knowing that I can just send a sequential number of interior pages plus the cover to a printer, that's plenty for me. And I would normally do the same thing with this book, except for the fact that I wasn't sure where I was going to place the text that I'm putting in it, because there's a few pages that have like heavy blocks of text, and there's just pages that'll just have a paragraph here and a paragraph there, and most of it's just full pages of illustration. And I wanted the flexibility of being able to move pages around in the entire document. So, I mean, I'm kind of with the mindset that as opposed to having a favorite tool, I just try to know all of them well enough that I can jump around to whatever program I need for whatever the appropriate task is.
Yeah, I'm the same way with that. I mean, I use Illustrator for that kind of stuff too. But like, if it is like a book layout or something, I'll use InDesign. But I don't know too much about it, but I know enough to be dangerous.
So you can get just enough rope to hang yourself. That's where I'm at. So what are your guys? What's something you're looking forward to accomplishing in 2015? Like, I don't really make New Year's resolutions, but I think all of us have we were talking about what we have on our plate and the stuff we want to do, the stuff we didn't get done last year. Are there for each of you guys, what are like the big thing that you're like, this is my number one priority this year?
Which two guys? Because there's like four of us.
For all of you guys.
All speaking this.
Use guys.
That's a deep question, man. God.
What?
Well, I feel like the immediate thing that came to my head was I feel like 2014, I kind of dropped out from doing a lot of my own personal stuff to make more room for work stuff. But this year, I'm definitely trying to set aside time to do my webcomics or my own illustrations and, put up prints or posters or stuff like that more. Because that was something that somehow got lost in 2014 a bit towards the end, and I'm like, I don't want to keep doing that. You actually get kind of, I don't know how else to say it, but constipated. Like if you don't do your own stuff and you do like stuff for other people all the time, it's like a weird mental thing. You got to do your own. You got to get your stuff out of your head. Or at least for me.
Yeah.
I got the same problem, man.
So
Yeah.
hoping to keep that up this year.
Yeah, I wrote a whole big blog post on all my goals and stuff like that. But I'm kind of just trying to continue on what I've been doing as far as the number of prints I get out, the number of shows I try to do. But it's getting harder because right now I just got this massive, freelance project, which is a cool job. But it was like I just felt like I'm trying to bring another artist into it to help me out, and so I'm setting this up with my contact. It's a game design project, and so I mean it's just massive. There's a lot of stuff to be done, and so I introduced them. I sent them an email back so they could start working together. And I had never, no one told me about any deadlines or anything because it's so much work. I just assumed, the deadline wasn't anywhere in sight yet, and then I find out from them talking back and forth, he was asking kind of what the deadline was, and he says, well, we'd like to have everything by mid-March, and I just freaked out. I'm like, this has got to be a typo, because if you knew the amount of work, I mean, just I've got to do character designs, I have to do UI design, I have to do background designs, and there's these building designs and all this stuff. and just the character designs. There's like 100 characters back and forth that need to be done, and I don't know what happened because I gave them a quote on how long it would take, and I don't know where they came up with this figure. So I'm like freaking out, and I'm waiting until today. Like all weekend, I was freaking out, and I'm waiting until today to contact the guy, and basically I said, "Is that a typo?" And he's like, "No." And I had to explain to him. I said, because I laid it out. I mean, I said, what you're asking right now, there's not. If I worked every single hour of every single day, we wouldn't even get half of it done. I mean, it was like, and that's without me sleeping or eating or doing anything but working. You know,
Yeah.
like, I mean, part of it would have been like 200 hours a week, and there's not even that much time in a week. So finally, he said, well, we can. I think we can. And it was, he's cool and everything. It just, I don't know where he got the figure from. But he says, well, we need I guess, in, game talk, an MVP, which is, I guess, a minimum viable product, something that people can play even if it doesn't have all the characters yet or whatever, because it's like a battling character game or whatever. So I got him to agree to like 10 characters to start off with, which is a big load off my back. But still, it's like I just I was freaking out. I just did not know where they come up with that figure. Because I've worked with game companies before with more artists on board and had way more time to do it. So, but I think everything's okay now. It's still it's going to be a big time crunch, but I'm just thinking this thing was going to last. Because I mean seriously, I thought he might have meant like mid-March of next year, because that's how much stuff there is. So. But I mean, it's good to have all that work, and so far it seems like like everything's kind of settled down now, and it's not as crazy as it was. But yeah, I don't know, man. but beyond that, I mean, I don't know. I'm just it's good money, so it's like obviously I want to do it and get it done, but I just hope my personal projects don't have to take too much of a backseat, because I had so much stuff that I wanted to get done, and now I don't know. But you got to get paid, so
Is this one of those situations where it's like a newer company, they don't necessarily know what, like they don't necessarily have the proper perspective of the timeline for launching a product?
Yeah, it's a startup, and I mean, so far it's been a great gig. I mean, they pay weekly, which I've never worked on a project that pays weekly, and it's like I said, it's good money, but it's just I had to kind of educate them a little bit, so and I know I don't know if he's in charge or whatever, but I haven't really talked to him in a while. But the guy that brought me into the project, I've worked with him quite a bit before, so if I had to, I could talk to him. But everyone over there was cool when I explained it. He's like, okay, it kind of freaked me out, just total lack of, I mean, because it wasn't like an ambitious goal. It was like an impossible, no matter what, unless I had a team of like, 10 artists, And I told him, I said I could maybe find some more artists, but that's hard to do and bring everyone up to speed on the style and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know.
It's like even if you do have a big ass team, then you have to worry about quality control of making sure everything fits together. It's like the more hands you add to the machine, the more detail goes into make sure everyone's moving in the right direction.
Yeah, and just for me to bring on the one extra guy, I mean, there's a lot, and I didn't even really charge anything for that. I didn't bill that time, but I mean, it took me a while just emailing back and forth and telling what's going on and getting quotes together and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I don't know, but so I don't know. Hopefully, I'll still be able to accomplish. I'm just like worried about like because I wanted to do. I wanted to up my game on YouTube and put a little more production value into my videos, and I'm like building this little set that I can film my videos in and all this stuff. And then I got to get a editing software. I wanted to do a little cool intro, but now I don't know. I wanted to get that stuff done by March, but now I don't know. So I mean, worst case scenario, then I just put it. It's not like I got people like, where's your new videos or whatever. I mean. in the grand scheme of things, no one really cares but me. But still, you know.
Oh, it's like it's the part of the audience building thing. It's like
Yeah.
there's people who are watching you. They don't even may not even know are watching you. But
It's
just
true.
building that regularity. Once you start, you don't want to stop.
Yeah, yeah. It's true because I mean, the thing I do like about YouTube and why I've kind of switched over from like just Facebook is this like just or whatever. I mean, I still post stuff on Facebook, but I just like the community on YouTube a lot better. It seems like they're more interactive. It seems, you know, but even so, I mean, only about 5% of the people that watch the videos, well, probably less than that, even comment or anything. But still, you know.
It's a fun place to hang.
Yeah, yeah. So I know I kind of segued off with that little tangent, but I know we were talking about our goals and stuff. So
Yeah, because we stick to an agenda.
yeah. So what is everyone else doing then to continue Jeremy's topic? What have you guys got planned for this year?
Well, I want to, you know, get some of my own books out this year, and just, you know, be published more this year. Something I haven't really been on top of, really, that much. I've been doing too many small things and bits and pieces, and nothing really like chunky.
Yeah.
So it'd be nice to just be out there more, you know, in the comic stores and whatnot.
Are you thinking about going through Diamond for some of your stuff?
Not initially, maybe down the line, but you know.
Are your books in Diamond, Jeremy? Have you done-
My first graphic novel I did through Diamond, but the numbers I sold through were pretty low. So I found that there were shops like that I've been to, and then looking through the shelves, found my book there, and I was like, wow, surprised and pleased and flattered that they had it. But the series that I'm working on now, I intentionally didn't want to try and get into Diamond because I haven't been able to finish issues on any type of regular schedule. You know, it's like the first year I got 2 issues done. You know, I think I got 2 issues done. Then I got an issue and a half done the next year. Then finished the other half of it the following year. And my original goal was to do it quarterly. My original goal was it's an 8-issue series, finish it quarterly. And after 3 years, I'm at the halfway point. And I'm also going back and I'm retooling a lot of the stuff in the back end because my outline, I feel, in terms of the overall arc of the story, is solid in terms of the concept. You know, I've got my beginning, middle, and end. But I just feel like there isn't as much heart in it as I want there to be. So I'm trying to really go back and rewrite stuff and just trying to put as much care into the writing as I do into the visuals and make these characters really live and breathe more than they are so far. Like, I don't feel like I hacked out the first 4 issues, but my idea of the type of story that's going to really grip somebody and make them want to reread this and feel something emotional and have a connection to these characters, it's not as intense. I want people to feel intensity when they read this stuff. And I feel like there's more that I can do to notch that up, and so I'm taking a little bit more time and care with rewriting the second half of the story instead of just plowing through with the outline as is.
Yeah, well, I think you're putting out pretty good as far as time-wise and everything, especially with like a full-time job, and so you're definitely doing better than me. 'Cause I'm lucky if I get 1 issue done a year. But for me, it's just like, and I don't even know if I'd ever explore Diamond for kind of the reasons you talked about. But it's like it seems like for smaller publishers, it's kind of difficult. You would just need to bring books to the show and meet people and actually put a book in somebody's hand, you know.
Well, I try to look at it. I mean, that's definitely been like almost all of my sales have been from shows. I've gotten into a couple of local shops, but it's really just been from meeting retailers at conventions. They like the concept. They wanted to support indie creators. So I was like, oh, well, if obviously someone gives me a chance to put it in their store, I'm going to go for it because I appreciate the support. But I also try to look at it from a retailer's point of view in the sense that I think once I'm done with the whole series, I don't know for sure if I'm definitely going to just put out a trade or whether I might try and redo an entire print run just for the direct market. Because my whole thing is just I appreciate retailers supporting indie creators, but I know that what makes it really hard for them is books not coming out at a regular time. So I want to make sure that if I do something for the direct market, I've got the entire thing done, or for whatever reason, I can guarantee. If I know I can guarantee the schedule's going to come out, that's when I would feel comfortable. Because I don't want someone taking a risk on me, knowing if I don't know that I can deliver. Because I feel like that's indie creators that deliver to retailers is good for every indie creator. Because the more indie creators that are doing that, the more retailers are going to be willing to take that risk. If we're bringing stuff that's on time, that's quality, and that people are interested in, then that's going to make them say, all right, well, I'm going to take a chance on more creators and more creators. And right now, I know that I'm working on the quality as hard as I can, but I definitely don't have the schedule yet. And it's like I try to keep that in mind when I think about, about when it's the right time to make a strong push for getting a book into retail.
Yeah, like for me, the only reason why I'm really doing I like that idea of like issuing single issues again when you're done with it. That makes sense. I might even steal that from you, but
Go.
The only reason why I'm doing like the individual issues right now is just to break it up so I have a sense of accomplishment. Because otherwise, I probably would have given up by now, because it's nice to have something. And I don't really promote it a lot right now. I guess I do. I guess that's kind of a lie, at least. But, on my videos, I'm always pitching it and stuff. But, like, beyond that, I don't really go out and try to, put it in comic book stores or anything like that yet. I kind of have the same opinion as you, is that I want to get it done, and then I can kind of promote it. But, I don't know.
No, I hear what you're saying. You just want it's one of those things where you want everybody. It's hard to please everyone, but you want the comic fan to be happy. You want the retailer to be happy. You sure as hell want to be happy.
Yeah.
And it's like you just want all the pieces to fit, and it's like having the resources to make all of those things happen as an independent creator is rough. Which that's why there are publishers. Yeah. It's not like I would never work with a publisher. It's just that I would want to make sure that it was a deal that felt worthwhile to me, as opposed to just selling off my creations to somebody just to see it on the shelves.
Yeah.
Yeah, working through Diamond has not entered my brain. It used to be the only way, kind of, if you wanted to make any sort of impact, but there's so many more options now. I'm just going to do it small and do it print on demand. Eventually I'll have a digital option. But, it's like I want to see what audience I have before I'm going to think bigger than anything. I'm creating books all alike, but how big it gets really depends on how much of a fan base grows from it.
Well, pardon my ignorance, because I don't do comic books, but like when you say you want to publish it through Diamond, how exactly does that work? Like, they're buying the property from you, or what?
Who wants to jump on this question?
Not me. Because to be totally honest, I don't really know exactly how Diamond works. I just know what I've heard as far as, it's a catalog that the comic book stores order from. So if you get it in there, then they're going to evidently, the comic stores are all going to see it because everyone orders from Diamond, and they've kind of got a monopoly on that as far as they're the only catalog like that. But beyond that, I don't really know too much about Diamond, but it is kind of, that's what the shops order from.
Okay.
Is that true? Other people that know more about Diamond, Peter, I don't know.
Yeah, well, I'm sure it's changed since I knew more about them years ago. But you got a catalog, and it's got 1,000, 2,000 books a month coming out, whatever. And if you're a small publisher and you're only publishing one book once in a blue moon, you're somewhere in a, amongst everyone else. You get lost. So you really need to, they have a thing called spotlight, which you put in the front of the book, so you can get a spotlight on your book, and I know store owners look at that stuff. Or you need to put an ad in the book, which isn't cheap. So, I know a friend of mine back in 2000, I was inking his book, and he, put in 3 issues of his book and had a full-page ad for each issue. And it was expensive as hell back then, 15 years ago. And it just, first issue did good, and then it just dropped off tremendously, and he couldn't make it work. So, it really helps to, I think, have an audience before you do something like that, to have some sort of a track record. I'll be starting off with, I haven't published, so I'm not going to go directly to Diamond. That doesn't make sense to me. And it's also, you really have to sell a certain amount of issues. Maybe 2,500 for them to put you in the latest issue of previews. Like I said, things might have changed. I don't know all the latest, but it's essentially that. You have to sell a certain amount of issues for them to see you as worthy. So if you're going to do legwork, why go through the hassle of getting in Diamond? I don't know. There's pluses and minuses. I think, if you're an independent publisher, do the legwork yourself, talk with, store owners, go to conventions, just push your book or books or whatever. Build your own.
Excuse me.
Like, do any of you guys have books for sale at your local comic store?
I do. I've got one store in Hollywood, Meltdown Comics. They're a pretty large store. They're like one of the bigger stores in the LA area. And the way I actually got in there, because I don't think it's an easy store to get into. I mean, they're indie friendly, but they're also, it's kind of got a Hollywood, it's in Hollywood, and a lot of people that work in the Hollywood industry shop there. So it's kind of like every producer and person who has a project that's attached to something, has stuff that they want to get in there. They had sort of a bazaar where it was like next to during their holiday sale, they had an empty space, a store, kind of a storefront that's just to the right of the store. Right. And they kind of let indie artists kind of set up in there like a little mini Comic-Con, like kind of an indie con over there. And while I was there, I gave some copies of my book to the buyer for the store, and she thought it was good stuff, and she said we'd be interested in carrying it. So I brought him back a bunch more copies. Other than that, when my graphic novel first came out, the month before it was supposed to appear in Diamond, I called probably 10 or 12 stores in Southern California and asked them if I could come over and bring them a copy by hand. And I think at least half of those stores did order a copy or two. They ordered some. So I didn't necessarily. I called them up, and a lot of them, none of them. I didn't do signings at any of them. I don't think I just was on the radar to that point where it was worthwhile for them to do this setup, and it's not like it necessarily I'd be a draw or anything.
Right.
But just the fact, more than one store owner told me that they actually really appreciated that I was taking the time to come and see them personally. And I'd actually made a list of, just from doing some legwork, I found a list online that's supposed to have all of the indie-friendly stores and comic shops in the United States. Or actually what it was a directory of all the comic shops in the United States. And I kind of went through, and one of the check marks you could filter them by was like Carrie's indie books. So then I went through and filtered that out, and then from there I went and just found what were like I think the top 100 largest stores that carried indie books. And every day during lunch, I would go for a walk, and I would call 10 stores and ask them if I could mail them a copy. And so I mailed 100 copies of my book to 100 stores. I mean, some stores weren't interested and just said, for one reason or another, they weren't going to carry it. If they already knew that they weren't looking at it. And some stores said, well, we order one of everything that's in the catalog, so we're definitely going to get it. And I remember I had some great conversations with a lot of retailers, and they gave me a lot of positive feedback and advice. So, I mean, I think I can't say that I understand what it's like to be a retailer at all, but I understood, the feeling I got from them was that they respected the fact that I was trying to put out a product and make outreach to them, and they were like, here's the realities of what we need in order for a book to be successful in our store. And they gave me some positive feedback, just in terms of, marketing, putting together a mailing list, doing appearances at conventions and trying to get people to come to stores, to retailers that were carrying it when I was going to conventions. And some of that stuff I didn't have time to implement it for the first book, and since I haven't done a major retailer push for the second one, it's more like I'm kind of thinking in the back of my mind about what kind of outreach I'm going to do when the second series is done. But even with that, I really look at it like this is just one small step in a chain, because I honestly feel like it's going to take me like 4 or 5 different graphic novels worth of material before I build up a following enough that it's like can be publishing stuff on a regular basis and actually, develop a real audience at a retail level. So it's one thing to have an indie book that's out there and it may be on the shelf for a while, but unless it's like something that's really popular, notable, it's going to end up in the bargain bin at some point if somebody doesn't buy it, and then they don't see it for a while. But if you're putting out books on a regular basis, and there's enough people buying them that you can actually have like 3 or 4 books on a shelf in any store on a regular basis, then you've got regular turnover of product, and that's when the momentum kicks in. But it's like a long slog. In my mind, it's like I keep telling myself, not because I want to discourage myself, it's more like I want to keep in mind this is a marathon. And it's not just a marathon, it's the marathon. Like, it's going to be this years and years and years of putting stuff out with very few people carrying, just to get to the point where, a small number of people, a small audience is buying my stuff on a regular basis. Like when a lot of those books were coming out about the idea of the long tail, and there were all those articles that talked about having 1,000 true fans. Having like 1,000 patrons that are generally interested in my work and will support what I put out. The work that it takes it sounds like getting 1,000 people is not an impossible task,
That's a lot of people, though. That really is.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at, from what I've heard of advertising, usually the response, a great response, is like 5%. More often than not, for any ad that's out there, you get a 1 to 2% response.
If you're lucky, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that means that in order to get 1,000 fans, you've got to have, what is it, 100,000 people have to get exposed to your work?
Yeah.
And that's probably 100,000. You have to get 100,000 people to read your work, which means to get 100,000 people to read your work, you have to expose it to 1 million people. If you get your work in front of 1 million people, to get 100,000 people to read it, to get 1,000 people to actually be a fan of you. So, all right, it's like, all right, that's the job. That's what I'm signing up for.
Yeah, I mean, it's you're building a career, and it's you can get lucky, but more than likely it's going to be a lot of work and a lot of persistence and a lot of, like you say, just putting out books. Think of any independent writer, artist, small publisher that's put out work that you followed. That did it take the first issue you saw of their work to sell you, or did it take? Oh, I saw this guy put out a book, 5 years ago, and then he did a miniseries. Then he worked for this other publisher. Now he's doing his own book. Yeah, I'll pick this up and get a subscription to it, or whatever. It takes time. I think I heard somewhere like store owners like to see, if you're a small publisher, at least 1 or 2 graphic novels, or trades of your comic. This way, they know you've done a certain amount of work consistently, and there's some sort of reliability that you're going to do another book.
They want to know you're coming back.
Yeah. Because there's plenty of people that independent publishers do 1 or 2 issues, maybe even 3, and that's all you see. They're dead in the water for, whatever 1 million reasons. They never get back to it. They're a business, and they want to make money, and they're not going to make money off of something that never went anywhere.
Yeah, seems like a really tough industry to get into.
No one. Yeah, most people just do this because they love comics. I mean, it's. I mean, there are people that can make it work, but I don't. I don't know if I ever have any I don't want to say delusions, but I don't really expect to make a whole lot of money, if any, off my comics. It's just part. I mean, there's other stuff that I do. My prints and stuff I can make money off of, and all that kind of stuff. But it's the comics. I don't know. Especially, I could probably print a bunch of comics, and I could probably sell them, and I can make a profit based on just the printed piece, what it cost me to print it and everything. But that doesn't take into consideration all the time that went into it and everything. So, yeah, I don't know. But like I said, it's kind of a labor of love. But it does. I mean, you don't want to. I guess I don't want to say that and just. I mean, Jeremy is right that. I mean, his plan of starting out that journey to gather those 1,000 true fans. I mean, I'm of the same opinion. I want to do that too, but I don't know. I don't know if that's how possible that is, but I'm going to try.
Well, it's funny you mentioned the art book thing or the art print thing, and I think about the fact that I want to make comics because that's what got me interested in making art and drawing in the first place. But as hard as the art print and the selling original art game is, it's still, I think, a more successful route to take than doing the comics, just in the fact that I look at how many people come to comic conventions, and I ask people at tables how many of them are actually comic fans. Is this their first show? What got them interested? And there's a lot of people who will show up at shows and they're not comics fans or comic readers, and they'll still buy a piece of artwork because everybody likes something that looks cool on their walls. Or if they see something that they know somebody else that they love likes, they'll buy an art print. A lot more people will buy artwork than they will buy books.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I'm like the opposite personally, because I don't really have anywhere on my walls to put prints up. So it's like, but I'll buy books. I usually buy. That's the one thing I usually buy is like indie books and things like that when I go to a convention. But I'm not the norm. But I think also, again, it's the time. It doesn't take as much time to design a print as it does to create a whole comic and illustrate a whole comic and write a whole comic. So I mean, all that time involved just takes away from your profit if you were to track, like if you were a publisher and you were paying somebody to create a comic, so you're paying for that person's time, and then you're also paying for the cost of the books and everything. I mean, that's got to be difficult. But with like with me, I just don't really even factor in how long it takes me to do when I consider if I'm when I'm selling a comic, because it's just so depressing to think about.
The darkness.
Well, it's a lot of people that produce comics do other things, like you, Scott. Like you're doing prints, you're doing other little things. So it's you're creating a brand, and it's not a publisher. It's you as an artist, and doing comics is part of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, because I'll go to a show, and the last show I did, I didn't do too great at, but I did make a profit, and usually I make a pretty decent profit, but it's not really from the comics, But the comics, I just, I have to do them. I mean, I love doing them, and I got stories I want to tell and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. It's difficult, but again, like Jeremy, I'm surprised you don't. Do you do any web comics, or do you publish any of your stuff online, or?
Well,
to me, it seems like that's a way to build the following right there.
Well, I tried an interesting experiment with the first graphic novel. I wrote, and I finished writing and drawing the entire book, so it was done. And then what I did was, I don't think I approached Diamond until I've been selling it at conventions for like a year or two. But what I did was I posted the book online in 5-page increments each week, and at the bottom of each increment was a link to buy the printed book. And my plan was to use the updates of running it as a webcomic as a, just people that were really into it and didn't want to wait to see how it ended, because it's kind of a suspenseful thriller, could just say, well, screw it, if you really want to read it now, you can just buy it. I thought that it was like brilliant, brilliance on a hockey stick, and it was not. I did get a few sales from people that were reading it online that way, but in the end, most of my sales really came from conventions and occasionally getting on some podcasts, people hearing about it that way. That's where most of my sales were. I do agree that doing a webcomic really is a good way to build an audience, but again, there's the problem of not updating regularly, because whether I'm doing it in actual comic issues or whether I'm doing it as a webcomic, I mean, regardless, you have to deliver to your audience on a regular basis. And the demands of a webcomic audience is that if you're not doing a daily strip, you got to at least be doing stuff weekly. And I don't know how well Greg Rucka's webcomic is done, or there's another one, Athena Voltaire. That was a really good long-running webcomic. But the closest I've seen to someone delivering a superhero comic, or not superhero comic, but delivering something that's more like a modern comic book. In fact, it's not a humor book. Was Warren Ellis' Freak Angels. Most of the stuff that I have seen in webcomics that's been really successful tends to be humor strips, because you don't necessarily have to read a long backstory. You don't necessarily have to read every day. You can just come in, you just get a gag every day, and they're just short little bite-sized bits. Whereas with comics, with more narrative, serialized comics, where it's adventure, horror, action, what have you, the inherent nature of the medium, the storytelling, is that you want to get wrapped. You want a satisfying chunk of narrative. And these days, comics, even if it's not a quote-unquote decompressed comic, still the amount of narrative you get in one issue in one page of even a densely packed comic usually still doesn't hold up in terms of being satisfying. And I mean, Freak Angels, that was one of the reasons why I decided on putting out the original graphic novel in 5-page increments every week, as opposed to putting up 1 page a day, is because with that Warren Ellis comic, I found that it was a satisfying read. If you got five pages every week, those 5 pages told you a chapter. They gave you a chunk that had a beginning, middle, and end, and it felt satisfying. You were always hungry for more. And sometimes those chunks were dense. Sometimes those chunks were just almost like a poem, like a light, breathing moment of just characters kind of expressing some emotion. But no matter what, you felt satisfying every week. And I think it's a lot harder to pack that kind of satisfaction into a single page. So there's a whole host of reasons why I haven't tried the webcomic experiment again. It doesn't mean I wouldn't try it again, but scheduling would be a big part of that. Just figuring out the proper scheduling would be a big part of what I'd need to work out in order to do it.
Yeah, because I mean, if you did, I mean, because like, it's Morningstar, right? It's the one you're working on now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you've got how many? Is it 4 issues done?
Got 4 issues done. It's going to be 8 altogether.
Yeah. So I mean, because I'm kind of in the same. I'm kind of in the same thing. I keep wanting to run it as a webcomic, and I was going to do the same exact thing that you said that didn't work, where is if you wanted to read, just start adding pages, and if somebody wants to read further on, then they can order like a finished book or an ebook, or something if they only want to pay $1 and get an issue like a digital copy or something.
Mm-hmm.
But you said that didn't really work for you.
Well, it didn't work for me. But that said, at the time I did it, I think it was 2009, and there's a lot more people reading comics digitally these days. I mean, I love print stuff, but I'm reading more comics digitally now just because I've run out of bookshelf space at home. I bought the most recent Image Humble Bundle that they had online. Even though I have a bunch of books that I haven't read yet, I have like a whole bookshelf worth of stuff that's on my reading list, they had some books on sale that it would have cost me so much more to actually buy either in print or digital individually that I just said it's worth it for me to drop $25 because they gave me like the Walking Dead compendium. That's like the first 50 issues. Plus they gave me the latest trade of The Walking Dead. What else was in there? Satellite Sam, that Matt Fraction, Howard Chaykin series, which I've actually been wanting to read that for a while now, and so the fact that just the Image thing and the Satellite Sam, I mean not the Image, the Walking Dead thing and the Satellite Sam is worth the price of admission. But they had like the first 18 issues of Saga are in there. There's a few other there's a few whole trades in the thing. Like, it was a really good deal. My point in that was saying that just because it didn't work in 2009, the landscape for digital comics has changed so much in the past 5 years. In a way, it's worth it to, even though I'm not eager to try it again, but it's almost like I'm saying, if you have a hankering to try it, try it.
Yeah, yeah. But I was just going to say, with $4 books done, if you wanted to do it, I mean, you've got a pretty big buffer there.
That's true, but I'm gun shy only in the sense that I want to think that as soon as I finish the art book I'm working on, I'm going to get right back to the comic and get drawing quickly. But knowing how much rewriting I'm doing, I feel like I might end up burning through that buffer fairly quickly. Because I mean, like in the start of this, the start of the whole conversation in the Artcast, talking about stuff we wanted to do last year that didn't get done. There's all these other things that I feel like might get in the way of me finishing Morningstar as quickly as I want. And once I start doling out parts of the story, I feel committed to the audience to deliver them the rest in a timely fashion. For instance, I want to do more standalone art books and more art prints, like the one I'm working on now. And I also want to do a graphic design book that's kind of related to toy packaging, because that's my day job. So I feel like, why not do a how-to book that's literally what I do all day? And those things would probably make me a lot more money than the comic stuff. Potentially enough money that I could move towards doing more comic work by doing those things. What's stopping me is that now that I'm 4 issues in on Morningstar, other than this art book I'm doing, I feel like my priority is to finish that, because every single person that has bought a copy of Morningstar since I put it out, I've made a compact with them, an unspoken pact to try and finish this story in as timely a manner as I can. And the audience has been understanding and patient because they know I'm an indie creator. They know I don't have the budget of like Marvel and DC, and I'm not able to just crank stuff out on a monthly schedule. But I don't want to abuse the trust of the reader in the sense that I could do something that would make me more money sooner, but I feel like that would be betraying that contract between indie creator and reader.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It doesn't make sense, because a lot of people say, screw it, I'm going to do whatever makes me the most money. So it doesn't entirely, I don't think it entirely does make sense, but it's more like I'm choosing to go with my gut, even though I know it's my gut is telling me to do something irrational, because that irrationality feels like the right thing to do. And I know that people want to teach kids and teach everyone around them to do the right thing, and it is applaud. It's something worth applauding. And my words are getting jumbled. It's worth applauding for someone to say, I'm going to do what I think is right, as opposed to what's going to make me more money. But in business is run by the bottom line, and in taking my career as a business, I'm sure anybody who runs any other kind of small business would just look at me and say, stop what you're doing that's not making you money and go do the thing that will make you more money. I mean, since I started doing more art prints, that's become like 50% of my business now at conventions is art prints. And
Wow.
And that's just, I've just watched it grow like in the past year or two, because originally my sizes were, I was doing this 8.5 by 11s instead of 11 by 17s. The pricing wasn't as good now, so I give people deals if they buy like 2 posters or more. I'll give them discounts. And just learning to market the prints better has made that a huge part of my business. And I know that if I were to go put all my energy towards that instead of doing comics, I wouldn't be able to do it full-time right away, but I think I could build up an audience over a couple years. It would take a few years of steady marketing online and steady presence at conventions, but I think I could build up a business of doing just that. And that is the smart. No small business owner would blame me for doing that. It's simply the comic nerd in me that is like what I would want a comic creator to do if I were reading their books. If they're struggling to get something out as much as they can, and they're like, well, I started it, I'm going to finish it.
Yeah.
So
do you do like a lot of online print sales, or is that just mainly conventions that you're making money off that?
Mainly conventions. The online print sales are very low. I do a few here and there, And I haven't had a chance to experiment with this yet, but I also feel like a big part of what might help push that is that the YouTube videos. I mean, we've all got YouTube channels. We're all posting our stuff online. The videos of us, doing work. Most of my videos are of me working on comics. Occasionally, I'll show a video of me working on a piece that I'm doing as an art print, and or me doing concept sketches for an art print. But I think that if my channel were like 50 or 60% me showing the art print, and at the end of every print, there's a link to say, all right, here's the finished thing that you just watched me make. Here's not even saying, please go buy my work, just saying, it's here if you want it, but thanks for spending time with me. That alone, I think, would drive my print sales online.
Yeah, that would probably make you some money for sure. Yeah.
And that comes down to both the fact that if I'm putting so much time towards comics, that's what people are seeing in the videos. And I do, oddly enough, I don't sell that many print comics, but I just got a check from Comixology for like my sales for last quarter, and it wasn't a big check. It was like pizza money. But the fact that it's something that's making me money while I'm off making more art, it's like, okay, I need to keep feeding that. And I definitely believe the same is true with the art prints in the sense that, I still have to go take the time to drop them into the mail, but it's a lot easier to make an art print than it is to make a comic.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, you also got to give yourself a lot of credit, though, too. Like, Comixology, that's a freaking huge site. Like, there's a lot of people using that, so if somebody's even seeing your stuff, that's a pretty big accomplishment on there.
Well, I appreciate that. Thanks. I mean, it's definitely nowhere near a substantial amount of money, but just the fact that it's selling it all, I'm like, okay, it means keep going. That's the thing. I'm getting positive reinforcement, so I appreciate it.
Exactly. It's like baby steps. Somebody's seen it, and if you stick to it, it'll pay off, right?
Mm-hmm. That is the plan.
Yeah, but I could definitely see with the YouTube if you were pushing your prints, or like I guess anybody pushing their actual artwork sales on it, how that could make you some money. Because I know even with my channel, I've been doing I haven't put up a video in like 2 weeks because I've been thinking a lot about what direction I really want to take that channel to now.
Singing and dancing.
What was that, Peter?
Singing and dancing.
Well, I don't know if anybody wants to see me do that, but well, no, because with me, it's weird because, like, actually, my videos are getting a pretty decent amount of views. I don't get a lot of comments, but they're definitely getting a lot of views. But I get a lot of emails from people, and everybody, like every other email I get from somebody about YouTube is, oh, we want to, do a full tutorial, start to finish. We want to see it. We want to see it.
I'd like to see that.
There you go, right? Like, that's not really the reason I started doing the videos. Like, I can understand why people want to see it, but now it's kind of got me thinking. It's like, okay, like even this piece here, if this is 10 hours worth of work, for me to edit that down into a 1 hour video, then it's not going to be easy, and I'm not against doing it, but then you got to think, okay, if I'm going to do that, is it time for me to set up a Patreon and say, okay, you know what, like if you want to see a full video, give me $10 a month and you can see a full video.
I think you could do really good on Patreon, Jay. But another suggestion I would say, because I agree, I mean, those long videos, I mean, it's so much to upload and do all that stuff. But even, because usually when you do videos, you're almost at that finishing point where you're about to actually like put the whites in the eyes. But I'd like some other stage, so even if it's not the same painting, maybe like one you kind of show how you set up how you begin your process, and then another one maybe towards the middle of the process, so even if it's not the same painting, eventually you're going to see what your process is. So I mean, but But if that Patreon idea is in your mind, then that might be the way to go. You might not want to, give all those secrets away before if you can like, actually turn it into something on Patreon. I don't know.
Yeah, like I say, it's not a matter that I don't want to give secrets away or anything, because I really don't have any secrets. You ask me how to do something, I'll tell you how I do it. But
yeah, and no one's going to be able to do what you do, not without years and years of experience, and but it's helpful. I mean, so it's I don't agree with that whole idea of art secrets and things. I guess that was a poor choice of words, but because, like I said, no one's going to be able to do what you do. But there are bits and pieces that people would definitely like to see in your process and everything. And
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, like I say, I get that, and I get a lot of emails about it, and it's like, I mean, like, all of you guys do videos, you know how it is. Like I say, if I'm working 8, 10, 12 hours on a piece, for me, that's really kind of hard to videotape that whole thing. First of all, that's going to be like 30 gigs that I have to download off my phone. And I think my phone would blow up if I tried to do it. But, like, even like the videos I have now, like, I try to do it at the point where you can see what it is and I can finish it, because all I wanted to do is just kind of come on, hang out, and talk for a bit.
Right.
Like, I imagine everybody goes through the same thing. Like, you're trying to figure out, like, you get comments from people or emails, and you kind of have a real hard time deciding, okay, well, what direction do I really want to take my videos?
yeah, I know exactly. I keep going back and forth with the length of my videos, because I prefer longer videos, and I know Jeff said the same thing, and but that's not the norm. I mean, most people don't have that kind of time where they can sit and watch an hour video. So I want to start doing some shorter ones. And I even was gonna, this last one I did, that Fan Art Friday I did with the last Shogun Warrior I did, I was gonna break it up in two. So I was gonna do like 2 half-hour things, and then I realized that the first one I did ran over 40 minutes anyway, and then I got hit with a bunch of other client stuff, so I didn't even get to finish the second part of it, which I'll probably have to wait till next Friday. But so I'm still trying to figure out what to do as far as the size of the videos, and I don't know. But so yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It's really weird, because I know even the last video I put up, I literally had, like, I mean, what is it, 7 minutes long, I think, at best. And it's just a bunch of clips that I had, and I had more views from that 7-minute clip video than I did of my last 2 videos combined. So when you look at the numbers, you really kind of get confused. Like, okay, do I do a short one, a long one? You kind of leaves you scratching your head.
Yeah, I think that one was just because you got so much of your artwork, so many different pieces, and I think that's why that one did. Because that one, even though, like, for me, the problem with that one is I had to actually sit and watch it, or else I'm going to miss one of those pieces fly by. Whereas usually, when you got one of your videos up, I mean, I can turn my head and just hear you talk, and turn my head back, and not a whole lot has changed. So, so for me, I couldn't watch tons of those videos with just, like, that's why I don't watch like the speed process ones where it's just music and just because most of the time I'm wanting to listen to the person, and then glance back because I'm drawing while they're drawing. So
yeah, exactly. Like that's the whole reason I got into doing it, because like I got turned on to, like all your guys' channels. I watch you all the time, and I enjoy it because you can just literally sit back, paint, draw, do whatever you're doing, and you don't really have to watch it that much. You can just listen to it, and that's what I really enjoy about it.
It's hard. I mean, it's impossible to gauge by, the comments you get, the views you get, really what's going to be your best option. I mean, it's more like you can guess by what a million people have said. Yeah, do short videos. That works. because nobody wants to see a long video. Well, nobody wants to see a long video of somebody they don't want to watch. Yeah.
Yeah.
um,
It's really tough trying to figure it out. It's really tough.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, like the last video you did, I think is and something you probably should do once in a while because it's a showcase of your work.
Yeah.
Showing a lot of your different pieces. Who wouldn't want to see that? Especially those into your work, you know.
Yeah, like I say, I've had a lot of emails from people, and like especially on Instagram, you know, people are saying, "Oh, if you do a video, I'll buy it, and you know, make it for a download or whatever." And now, like I say, it's really got me thinking. That's why I actually haven't put up a video in a week or two because I'm trying to figure out what the hell I want to do.
Yeah, I'm surprised with the amount of response and stuff you get from Instagram. Have you ever mentioned on Instagram that you also do videos? Because if you could get those people that are following you on Instagram, if you can get them to migrate over to your YouTube channel, you'd have a lot more views.
Yeah, well, I've had a couple, you know, people will leave a comment on a picture or they'll give me a message on Instagram and I'll say, they're like, "Oh, you know, do you have any videos?" I say, "Yeah, I have a YouTube channel, here it is." And then usually within 2-3 hours, I get another message saying, "Oh, your videos are awesome, but can you do some full-length ones?" Like, oh, God. You know?
But you know what, though? If full length, usually if you've got a YouTube channel, and if they go to the videos page, they go into a playlist anyway. So it's like they can sit there and just watch 5-10 videos in a row if they really want something long.
Yeah, I guess, I don't know, like for me, like I've always found with airbrushing, just like this is what I do, and I know a lot of people that do it, and I get questions all the time. People, like with drawing, if you could do a 5-minute drawing video, people are like, "Oh, cool, that's how you hold your pencil." But when it comes to airbrushing, people literally want to know, like, you know, how do you prep your surface? What airbrush do you use? What paint do you use? I want to see steps A through Z in slow motion and HD. You're like, oh God, you know.
It's difficult because like when I do I don't know if you've seen any of when I do those matte prop videos.
Yeah.
So I kind of do try to do it more of a tutorial, but it's hard for me because I'm not the best teacher. I mean, I know how to do certain things, but I'm trying to show people the process, but I kind of blow through it, and like I know I leave things out, and I always say, you know, if you have a question, let me know. But technical stuff like that it's really, and it's the same thing with airbrush because you're not dealing with just a pencil that you can pick up and draw. I mean, an airbrush is a complicated, you know, piece of machinery that involves the compressor and mixing paints and, you know, all that stuff, you know. So I mean, I can see, you know, there's like you said, people want to know that stuff. So it's kind of akin to what, you know, stuff that people aren't as familiar with, like when I do these props and stuff like that. So it's just hard. It's hard for me to do those videos. That's why I don't do a whole lot of them. Plus, I'm not always making props, but.
Yeah, no, but you're totally right because, you know, like I think I'm really like you, where you want to do a video and just talk and hang out for a bit and have a little bit of fun. But then you get people and they're asking such technical questions, which I have nothing against, but for me it kind of defeats the purpose as to why I was doing the videos in the first place, you know?
Imagine you do one, like full length, you know, hour and a half. Maybe you're not filming, you're doing a whole piece, but you take a snapshot of like every 10 minutes. But you go through all your steps, you go through all the technical aspects of it, and, you know, and just put that up for sale, you know, however, you know, you can make a DVD for that matter. You know, can you really imagine yourself doing that 100 times? I mean, you just do one really concise, professional, you know, video, and anybody who wants to see that can or go rent it or go whatever, however you want to set it up.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, no,
I know
I know what you're saying. I
do-
totally know what you're saying.
Yeah. I do videos where I give advice. Nothing has been really concise where everything is in one video. But people ask me little bits of things here and there. And if you watch all my videos, you'll eventually come across it.
No, but it's true though. Yeah, like I mean, even if you were to sit there and watch all my videos, like probably 9 out of 10 questions would be answered if you watched them all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like I say, I really don't know what I'm going to do because I'm trying to figure out. Like I'm going to do it one way or the other. It's just I don't know if I'm going to literally film myself for 12 hours and cut it down, or I'm going to do, film for 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there throughout the day. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it, but I will do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I just look at it like, what would be informative to me? How would I learn? And to me, I wouldn't learn by seeing a whole piece made from beginning to end. It's more about some of the technical stuff, as well as the insights from the artist.
Yeah.
If anything, it's more about motivation, like to be better, to be the best. That kind of stuff gets me going.
Well, maybe I'll start a whole new series of videos. How to Paint Like a Rock Star by Jay Ferguson.
Badass. I'm in.
There you go. Don't suck. That's
Pretty much, eh? God.
Oh, you lost Eric? Yeah.
So, Scott, when do you figure those new videos, that little secret lair series is going to start?
Well, when I was kind of setting my goals for this year, I said I wanted to get them going by March, but now with this big project I got, I don't know. I don't know. It's also, and I got to figure out how much time do I really want to, put into this, and because how much time do I have? I've already, the set that I've been building is pretty much, for the most part, it's done. But then I want to do like a cool little intro and stuff. So, yeah, I was hoping if I gave myself a good two months, not to work on that because I've got all this other stuff, but in that amount of time, I'd be able to get one of the videos up. So I haven't gotten rid of that goal, but and I was thinking to myself, well, if it takes a little longer, is anyone really going to care? But I guess since you asked, maybe people do care.
I care. That's all that matters.
No, but yeah, it's definitely going to happen. This is not something that is that I'm going to just put on the back burner and never get back to, because it's like one of the main things, because everything really evolves around it. The way it's going to be structured is it's going to be, in addition to just a fun little kind of art video, I'm also going to drop in little like a fake commercial for my product. So hopefully it's just an idea to kind of hopefully build my whole brand, and everything kind of centers around that video. So it's a major part of the marketing and just the YouTube channel, which is a lot of my focus nowadays, other than my client work and stuff is all on YouTube and stuff. So yeah, it's definitely going to happen. Hopefully still by March, but I don't know. We'll see. This project I have just took a turn for like the deadline just got so much more crazy than I thought it was going to be. So we'll see.
Yes, it sounds like a friggin' huge job you got on the go there.
Yeah. I mean, it's we'll see. I just thought I was going to have pretty much a good part of this year to like work on it. So we'll see.
I I know how some of those projects can be.
Yeah.
You know, something that big. You know, hopefully you'll get to work on it as a whole, and you know they'll give you enough time to do it.
Yeah, I mean, and I told him, I said, if you need everything by March, because I haven't been taking any other client projects or anything like that, but I said if you need it done by March, then I got to figure out, I got to start planning what I'm going to do after March. You know, start lining up some other projects or something. And
Yeah.
he's like, well, no, I mean, we're still going to need all these other characters, so there'll be more work, but I guess they won't need that full, you know, game, which is still like, the more I think about it, it's like, how did you even expect this to get this amount of time? It's just, and maybe that's, and you know, they seem knowledgeable as far as building the games, and you know, as far as their end where it's the programming and all that stuff. But just for me working at a couple different game studios before and knowing what those deadlines were and how long it actually took and having a bigger team, it's not realistic. So, but anyway, it's not as bad as what I thought. I mean, I think I gave, you know, I I educated them enough so they, I mean, they're definitely not. When I told them, when I explained it to them, they're like, you could tell that the lights kind of went on, like, oh, I see, that makes sense. There is no way that you there aren't enough hours in the day to do what we're talking about doing, even if that was the only project we were working on, which it isn't. I've got another job that's almost just as big, but so far they're hammering out stuff, so I don't know. I'm kind of hoping that they'll keep going back and forth with their client, because it's like I've got to design. You know what emojis are? Those little things you
Yeah.
Emoticons, yeah.
emoticons, yeah. Some people call them emojis or whatever. But I've got to do. I'm supposed to do 25 of those a week, but they're still trying to figure out what they want to do as far as the style of them. So as long as they keep going back and forth, I've got a little more time. But I don't know. It's I don't want to sound like I'm complaining, because I know, I mean, there's a lot of people that are just, you know, it's hard for them to even, you know, get enough work to keep them busy, and it sounds like I'm complaining because I have too much work, which, you know, so I don't really, I don't like to complain, but, you know, but I do anyway.
Well, it's a real problem though, because that feast or famine artist lifestyle, you know, leads. Because I mean, I've been lucky to have an in-house job for the past several years, but I know that there's times when you're living freelance, you take on gigs you never thought you would take, or a number of gigs you never thought you would take on, just because you're like, I don't know when the next famine's going to be. So you load up, and you end up killing yourself.
Yeah. Well, the good thing these are projects that I like doing. I mean, both of these things, I mean, I like both these projects that I'm working on. So I'm not complaining about doing the work at all. I'm having fun. Like the big game design. I mean, they kind of, at first it didn't seem like they had a real direction, and I tried to get them to choose sort of a direction to go into as far as concept, and they met with some game designer, and he kind of brought more of a theme to the game.
Mm-hmm.
And the theme, I don't want to talk about too much because I didn't sign an NDA or anything, but I'm sure they don't want too much to get out. But it's like, if you've seen any of my Circwork stuff, I mean, it's right up my alley. I mean, it's exactly the kind of stuff that I like doing. So, and to get paid decent money to do it is always good too. So it's a fun project. So I'm not complaining about that. I just, you know, time is always good to have more time to work on stuff. So, but
when it comes to getting gigs, it's like, you know, I think I mentioned I was possibly going to be inking 2 comics series, possibly. Well, I'm finally going to get pages on 1, probably tomorrow.
oh, that's awesome.
And
Congrats.
just after we started the Hangout, I got a message that the writer with the other project signed a penciler. So, and if I was still interested. So
That's cool. That seems always the way it
yeah.
is. Was it Jeremy that just was talking about feast or famine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way. I mean, last year was pretty rough for me because it was the first like full year where I didn't have, because I had either always had like a full-time art job or like a part-time art job doing freelance, and last year was pretty much the first full year that all I had was freelance, and it was, it was tough because I mean, I don't want to say it was the first time because I mean I've done that before, but it was so long ago, so it was basically like starting over again. And then finally, I'm now at the point where things are starting to fall into place. But it was yeah, it was like starting over, and it was difficult. So hopefully this year will be a little better. So far, I mean, like I said, I'm plenty busy. So as long as it keeps up, then that's a good thing.
Yeah. Well, I think it's, as long as, I know with me, as long as I'm not super busy, I gotta keep my hands in my own projects moving forward.
Yeah.
So that, potentially I can make a couple bucks on the side with that stuff. And I know, like, talking early on about where I want to do more random art, more sketch cards, and just this morning I posted a piece on my Facebook and other places, and I'm trying something I've seen other artists do, which is artists doing something similar to eBay, but on Facebook. Having their own private auctions for artwork. And I've seen successful results with other people. I know I don't have a huge following as far as people following, buying my art. But I figure if I get in the habit of doing it, eventually people know me for doing that. So I'm just giving it a shot.
Yeah, I've never heard of
How does
that.
that work?
Well, it's like you post the artwork and you say, "Hey, this is auction. Starting bid is this." I've seen it on Instagram as well. You just post art, say it's available for bidding or available for sale. If you want it, just say so.
So they're just making a bid right on Facebook?
Yeah, just publicly, like, the bid right in the comments.
Okay.
And I put an end time for my bidding. Leave it open ended, I guess.
Yeah.
I've seen an artist just he does at least a pin-up a week, and when he's done, he says, "Okay, this is available for sale." And I guess he does it privately, so he just goes for the highest bidder.
Yeah, fair enough. Have you ever put your stuff on eBay?
I have. I haven't had much success of making, even decent money.
Really? Huh?
But I haven't really consistently followed up with it either.
Yeah.
But because of like the last couple of months, I really need to make money now rather than wait and ship and all that jazz.
No, I hear you. Yeah.
So I figured I'd give this a shot. So.
Yeah, I'm actually. I'd be curious to hear how that works out. because I'm not on Facebook, so I can't follow you. So.
Yeah. Maybe I'll make mention of it. I guess I did in the last video a little bit, but yeah, I mean, I got one bid, and it's somebody I know who's bought my artwork before. So while I'll make some money off of it, it's not what I call a super success. You know, it's like I'd love for a stranger to like make a bid.
Yeah.
But I got like one or two comments on the piece itself, and it's not a finished piece. I got to finish, but it's 85-90% done. And yeah, I got a lot of likes, and because I originally posted it on my Facebook page, I could tell it's getting more traffic than other things I posted. So that's a good sign.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. Yeah, maybe one day I'll have to get another Facebook account.
Don't do it.
God damn it.
No, like I have no love for Facebook at all, but all the Artcasters are on there and whatnot, and I kind of feel like I'm missing out.
Well, I think you can probably set up a Facebook and have a profile page, but not use it. Just set up a business page.
Yeah.
And
So you don't have to
use
deal with the
that.
bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. So you could just come on to the Artcasters group and say, "Here's my latest video. It's 6 hours long."
Well, yeah, because I know even I know Jeff's doing those Hangout videos lately.
Yeah, the working hangouts.
Yeah, and I know that you can leave a comment, like a live comment, but you can only do it on Facebook, because I've had it on a couple of times while I'm working, but I can't leave a comment because I don't have Facebook, so I'm kind of getting pissed off because I want to bug them.
Well, for all the times I've done Hangouts, I still haven't figured out, like, there is a way to have a live streaming comment section to those watching the video. And I still don't know how that works. I'll probably put some time into that one day. I just got too much work to really worry about it. So there is a way for him to see comments. Like he did acknowledge seeing Safara post on YouTube during our hangout. But there's even a better way to, because I was in the audience watching Will Terrell during a live hangout, and he had a group of people with him, and I think somebody specifically was reading comments, and it's different. It's when you watch a normal video on YouTube, the comments are below, but the comments for his show were like towards the right, on the right side.
Okay.
And they were like constantly updating as people posted questions or comment, whatever.
All right, so there is a way to do it.
I don't know how to, access it. Yeah, probably just waiting for somebody else to do it and tell them how to do it.
Probably, yeah.
All of a sudden, we got 2 viewers. Speaking of.
Wow, we're famous.
Do they have any questions?
Oh, 1 left. Oh no. Wah, 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 wah.
They'll be back.
Just wait till tomorrow. It'll have 500 views.
Actually, earlier, I didn't mention it as it was happening, but I had essentially what I'll call my first troll.
Oh, yeah?
Who was cursing on the, like making comments on the video, essentially cursing and whatnot. I not only deleted it, but I, flagged them or whatever. So.
Well, that's when you know you got a pretty good thing going, when somebody's swearing at you. So.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, he was just swearing in general, like as if to somebody, but not being specific. So he was just whatever. Fucking around.
What was this?
If my attention is diverted during the conversation at any point, I'm usually like checking what's going on online elsewhere. Just in case anybody's wondering.
Fair enough.
I'm operating in a slightly distracted state only because normally I can do graphic design while I'm listening to podcasts, and I can be having full-on conversations with people, and it's like my brain's on autopilot. But the weird thing with the book is that I'm kind of like, since I'm moving pages around and working on an editing flow, my brain is sort of halfway between design and full-on storytelling and editing. So it's a weird headspace for me, particularly because I haven't done a book like this before. So it's like my brain doesn't really know what to do.
Oh, I can understand that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm thinking it's coming up. It's 1:45 where I am. So I think we're around 2-hour mark. If nobody has any pressing thoughts or to the group or something, I think we can do shout-outs, and let people know where they can see your stuff and all that kind of stuff. Nobody has any objections.
No, it's all good with me.
Yeah, me too. I'm getting a little tired, so had a long day. So
Yeah. Well, Eric left. I don't know when he dropped off. So Eric, go to Eric Webb's website. Eric Webb Graphics. Then we have Jeremy, who's been with us.
My site is optichouse.com. It should be in the group chat, so I don't know if that shows up in the comments, but you can see my blog, my mailing list, links to my YouTube videos. I usually post a blog almost daily, and I'm also updating what I'm listening to and reading online, giving people a peek into inside my brain, so check it out.
Cool. Then we have Jay.
Yeah, website's airheadscustom.com, airheads with a Z. I'm on YouTube at Airheads Custom. Instagram, I'm J Ferguson Art. And yeah, come check me out. Got some cool stuff.
Absolutely. Then we have Scott.
yeah, so I am Scott Circland, and I try to keep it pretty easy. So if you just search whatever social network it is, if I'm on it, then I'll probably be on it as Circworks, which is SERKWORKS. And I got YouTube,
All right.
YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, I don't know, Tumblr,
All over the
yeah, whatever.
place. And I am Peter Palmiotti. If you Google my name, I'm all over the place. And eventually I'll get my shit together and have a website up.
It's always Tumblr, man.
Yeah, well, I actually have the web address and just have to, put together a design for it and put it up, connect it to the public and whatnot. So it's work I'll eventually get to. I'm too busy doing everything else.
You're cranking on pages.
Cranking on pages, doing pinups, making comics, making videos, all that jazz. So I'll be back again Thursday night with Studio Synergy 19. I'm up to there. 8 p.m. Eastern, and we got a whole flock of seagulls coming to that show. But that's it. This is another one for the record. Hope you enjoyed it. Share with your friends. Comment, like, and all that. And visit everybody here. Okay. And that's it. See you next time.
Yeah.